I'm very fortunate that I experienced that.
You're not going to believe this. The recorder on the Skype just kicked in. A little late. Well, it's going to get a half an hour. To those of you that are watching this that are seeing us start from here, and that for some reason Skype is not doing what it's supposed to do. It was supposed to be recording a long time ago. But on the audio will be the whole thing from the very, very beginning, because that's on our servers, not Skype's. So we'll be fine there. And anyway, most people never put it on their cell phone anyway. I mean, sometimes I listen to a show back. I want to know, maybe I missed something, or maybe there was something that was said that I can use for the next show or something. So I'll take the audio side of it and I'll plug it into the car. And as I'm driving, I'm listening to the show.
Well, I hope the section we just did got recorded.
Oh no, well, let's hope. I can't. Skype, every single time they've been updating every couple of days on this thing, which is kind of crazy. I did write them and say, "What are you doing, guys? I mean, it's killing us." But who knows? Anyway, long story short, all the things that you did, and that when you were reading for people, and that people were getting something from this, no matter whether it was cards, whether it was stones, whether it was things that they had on them, and things that they were all getting something from it. I think so. You're doing that now?
Oh, I definitely give readings. I'm pretty active at it, as active as I can be without burning myself out. I don't do them all day long. I'll limit myself to a couple. But yeah, I definitely keep doing readings. I definitely keep experimenting with seeing symbolism in everything. I definitely keep experimenting with connecting with my guides, my higher mind, to bring out practical results. When I started realizing in 1977, during my near-death experience, coming back into my body, I was only gone for a couple seconds of Earth time. I was hit by a speeding car. I was a pedestrian. I went to infinite mind and back, the most mind-boggling thing. But when I came back, jumped into my body, wouldn't even hurt, didn't even feel it. I believed in miracles instantly. And I knew that I and every human being on this planet was connected to infinite mind. So the next step was tuning into it, practicing it, and bringing about practical results. Because that's why we grow spiritually, psychically, mentally. Not to get a gold star from God, but to make better decisions here in life, make things work better. I look at all the craziness we're going through now in society, and I saw this 45 years ago. I saw 9/11, I saw COVID-19, I saw these wars. In 1977, I couldn't imagine an individual having an AK-47. But I saw these pictures of that happening in public places, and I thought, this can't be true. 45 years later, obviously it is, sadly. But we're going through this big series of experiences, challenges, not to confirm that we're screwed, but to see what we need to fix, what we need to change. And we can't get a better 3D IMAX version of it than we're seeing in contemporary time. Pretty strong.
Yeah, it's not as far as I can see anyway, as far as I know. I mean, it's but let's face it, we didn't grow up with this. I mean, you're only a couple of years older than me. I mean, we basically were in the same package of time.
Oh, absolutely. We grew up pre-Beatles, Pat Boone.
Yeah. Pete, see, now
Leave It to Beaver.
That's right. And you know, it was funny though, because you talked about Pat Boone. Pat Boone. Remember the original? What was it? Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
When Pat Boone was a kid, just about. I mean, he was young, in a sense. I mean, at the very, very end, and there's three nuns that find him, and he's in a cup that's shot out of the volcano.
My mom gave me a book when I was 12 years old by Pat Boone called Twixt 12 and 20. Twixt 12 and 20. It was about growing up through puberty between 12 and 20. I don't know how many copies he sold, but I had one, and I guess it helped me a little bit. Going through puberty, going through young adulthood is quite a challenge. You know, being grown up is quite a challenge. Life can be quite a challenge, but we don't have to stay in the challenging, fearful, tugging the heavy cart mentality. Uh, we can always look at everything from the opportunity and from growth, and that's really the one that's going to bring the best results. It's attitude, it's intentions. Uh, and like everything in life, it's practice, whether it's like you being a host or being a golfer or learning electronics. It's practice makes perfect, spiritually, mentally. So I encourage all people all the time to not look at the chaos in the world for how much confusion and fear and doubt it can bring, but for how much awareness it can help us bring. We don't have any challenges, we don't gain any awareness. You know, we don't go through curveballs, we don't learn anything.
You know, there's anybody that has a job, or should I say a life, where everything is good, they don't learn the other side. They don't learn the downside of things. You have to, to be good, you don't start out that way. You get that way. You learn to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, anybody that's like instantly good, no, I'm sorry, it just don't work. Forget about it. I mean, let's face it. I mean, even when I grew up, I mean, I had great parents, but my father passed away when I was 9. My sister was 4, and I was the kind of sort of the man of the house in a sense. I did everything. I mean, my mother had a real house and a real lawn outside. My father was a wild and crazy guy when it came to his lawn. You ever see a lawn that you see in a picture? That was my father's lawn, and we had a corner piece of property. So we had tons of lawn, and my father had to push a lawnmower over all the stuff and everything, and I'm 9 years old, all right? I'm a little skinny kid. I mean, I was never fat or big. I mean, I was always a skinny kid. But that was, the way I grew up. But after all of that, I mean, that was the downside, in a sense. I was taking care of a family when I was 9 years old.
That's why you got a lot of strength, man. That's why you got a lot of conviction. You've learned a lot.
I was digging wells and things when I was 10.
I can't imagine losing a parent at that age. I was very lucky. I had 6 brothers. I'm the third of 7. And my parents were together their whole lives. I had very good parents. Now, my older brothers thought they maybe drank a little bit too much, but hell, if I had 7 sons, I probably would have a drink or two too.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah.
But they were very good. To this day, I feel extremely grateful because there's a lot of people who don't have good parents or lose parents, and thank you, universe. I am eternally grateful. And in return, I try to do my best part to help other people because I've certainly had not necessarily luck in the music career. That was a struggle, but luck with finding peace and helping people and feeling blessed, and being able to go through a lot of life's changes, coming out, fairly intact. I count my blessings.
My mother was more or less one of these people that she was so strong. I mean, she really, really was. I mean, she was ridiculously strong, and she was father and mother all in one package.
Huh.
And my sister, who just my birthday was only in May, and my sister was like, she wrote me a nice thing, about her big brother and everything else. But I was more or less her father,
Mm-hmm.
the same kind of person as a father. Not knowing it now, you have to understand what I'm saying and what I did then were 2 different things. I did it because I sensed the fact it was needed. Today, you would say, well, you were acting like a father and this, that, and the other thing. I said, no, I wasn't acting like anybody. I said, I was the person to come to, that if you need something, come to me. And
God bless you, brother.
That's the way we should all be, Gary.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All of us. If you need something, come to me. If I can't help you, I will give you to someone who can. I will help you no matter what.
It's hard for me to understand a selfish, arrogant mind, personality. But, I grew up with six brothers. There's certainly degrees of that in some of my brothers, not like the extremism we see today. But I think it's just better in life. You feel better, you make the world better by being a kinder, gentler soul than you do by being a jerk and selfish. And it's that simple. But everybody gets to choose how they're going to act and react and think. I only encourage people to give themselves the right to grow to above and beyond their problems, their fears, their doubt. Give yourself the right to become light. Give yourself the right to get on the right side of history. If you don't, you default to wherever. It's choice.
It's funny, though, you say history, because I say to people all the time, don't look back. Look ahead. This is the now. It's the future. Your future is what you're looking at, not behind you. Yes, history is good. If we know where we came from, like for instance, I mean, I was a nutcase when it came to ancient history. I mean, I wanted to know where our civilizations came from, where our tribes came from, about religions and everything else, and all the rest of this stuff, and things that the Indians do. That I actually have, relationships with even Indians right here in the United States. These are people who tell me, what their great grandfathers, passed down for all these years and everything else. I mean, if you know your history, then you know how you got to where you are. But you don't look at behind you and guide today on yesterday.
Right. You can use
today on tomorrow. It's the future you want to look at. That's why every single time when I hear it on TV or anything else in that I hear racism. Racism what? I mean, come on, man. I mean, look, you were only 5 years old, but I mean, I grew up in Jersey for real, and I mean, I worked in New York for 25 years. I could walk down Harlem streets like I was walking down Harlem streets. I mean, if there was a shopping around there, they had some awesome ice cream right off Broadway. But if everybody would just think of each other as equals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that like one guy has more money than the other, one guy has a Cadillac and the other guy has a buggy. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about persons, the skin, the flesh. Who cares what color you are? I don't care. I really don't give a damn what color anybody is.
I think it's an interesting challenge to human race to see so many different cultures and people and histories, because it teaches us, hopefully, that we're all one human species interconnected. Sure, it teaches other people hate and racism and everything else, but if everybody looked like you or me and was the same color and thought the same, God almighty, we'd be a bunch of stupid morons like robots.
Yeah, but that'd be boring, right?
Boring. We'd never learn anything new. The diversity in life, the fact that we have a history that we can look at, giving us a fresh reference point for the present, so we can create a future that we want through free will and practice, as opposed to not having an imagination, or not using history, or not using knowledge, as opposed to just being like a default tumbleweed in West Texas. No, find your direction, find your path, put up your sails, explore yourself, experiment, trust, feel, give yourself a chance, give yourself a right.
And as I said, the easiest way to do it is to get rid of racism totally.
Absolutely.
Think about love. That's a biggie. I mean, let's face it, the love, the energy that's in love is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's off the scale.
True.
And
what I think is interesting is most people, including myself, who have had empowering NDEs, and I had one in 1977 when I didn't even know what an ND was. I was 29 years old. I'm 75. Do the math. It was 45 years ago. But everybody who's had one, and me at the time, when I came back into my body, I realized I'd experienced an infinite mind, but also infinite love. Because infinite mind manifested from infinite love. And most people who have an NDE talk about this feeling of infinite love that's just beyond human comprehension. And I think it's beautiful that infinite love brought about infinite creativity, brought about infinite possibilities, brought about you and me. It ain't no accident. And the infinite mind, the infinite love at the core of everything, there was two choices. Either it exists, unlimited, unbiased, infinite, or it didn't exist and nothing would exist. And guess which one exists?
Hmm.
There's no in between. There's no in between. Either infinite mind and infinite possibilities throughout all time and space, infinite creations, infinite levels, or nothing.
So, in other words, every one of us down here is equal to everybody else that's down here.
Absolutely. We're all part of the same infinite mind. We
Yeah,
got different genes, different histories, different cultures, different experiences.
sure. But you know what? You want to talk about cultures. All right, you were a musician, I was a musician, but I did a lot of touring all over the place and that around the world a couple times. You see so many different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had the band. Now, my bass player and I were the two guys that used to room together in hotels or whatever we had a flop in or something in it, and we'd practice together in one room in the whole 9 yards. But when it got to Saturday and Sunday, he was a Jew, I was a Catholic. So what did we do in a case like that? I was the only one. I was the only one that drove. I was the driver all the time. So what did we do? Okay, let's drive to let's go to shul on Saturday. We'll wind up at a church on Sunday. Like as the two of us agreed between the two of us, it's the same God.
I don't know why. It never even occurred to me as a child, and I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy. I learned the whole Mass in Latin. Deum qui latificat juventu cembellum ex pax domini et spiritu tuo, amen. Trust me. But I never thought anything about Jews or Islam or any of those people being any less connected to God than me.
Nope.
Now when I got older and realized the Holocaust, I realized, wow, they went through a lot. I asked my psychic friend, this is interesting, who taught me this method of lithomancy, and also she passed away about 5 or 6 years ago. I asked her about my 1977, my guides. I asked her why Hitler was here, why he came, why the Jews came, why they torture the Jews. And she said the Jews volunteered to be martyrs in order to show the world how devastating one person can be, how absolutely terrifying. And Hitler was that one guy. And Hitler came to prove to the world, yeah, you better watch out. One nut can screw up anything, which is my one nut theory. One nut can screw up anything.
You should be on my other show. Talk now. Oh, we
Well, I
get.
don't.
I mean, we've got guys over in China that are real. They're like pulling into like second position to Hitler.
Oh, it's horrible. The extremism of hate and ignorance and selfishness and control and arrogance. But like anything in life, we have to see what's screwed up, what's extreme in order to temper it down, pull the weeds out, fix it. It's a challenging time in human history because we're seeing a lot of stuff that's screwed up. And I saw this, like I said, in 1977 when I was coming back into my body after a car crash. I saw all these pictures of the future that looked terrifying that we're going through now. But I also saw all these pictures on the other side of a very peaceful, enlightened world with space, technology, use of the sea, the Aquarian Age, the beauty of the Aquarian Age. It's coming into play, but we're leaving the Piscean Age, which was kind of messy.
Kinda.
Yeah, pretty messy. Pretty messy.
Kinda was that was a nice word.
Yeah.
But in another way of looking at this, I mean, let's face it. When you left from here to wherever you went, and I went wherever I went, and things, the one thing that we did learn in both places is the power of love.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a song, by the way, out, Power of Love. I mean, they have no idea how they canned that one.
Mm-hmm.
But over and over and over again, I try to remember, or to try to remind people, and that if they thought about the love that they have for anything, for air, for walking around a block, for driving down the block, for taking a dog for a walk or whatever, cooking, whatever. Every single thing has love in it. What we're doing right now, and anybody that's listening, listen. You're listening. Why? Because you love to listen. Why are we talking? Because we love to talk. Why are we here on the radio? Because we want to tell you that you can do the same thing in your real life just by talking to each other.
And it's further underscored by the fact that in human life, the things that challenge us most emotionally and spiritually and mentally, like love and loss of, these emotional, personal things we go through, are the exact routes that we need to go through in order to expand our consciousness, to learn deeper love, to learn deeper self-respect. If we didn't have these challenges and difficulties and fears and doubts, we wouldn't learn that. But the highest growth of human potential is through the very humanness of love, emotions, forgiveness, integrity. Going through your life not afraid of the curveballs, but determined to hit the ball out of the park as much as possible. Love is a very strong part of everything. It's the fiber. It's the quantum mechanic interface to the infinite mind. That's the way I look at it. I really do.
Everybody, even the ones that are like, there's people that are listening to us right now that are in their 20s and 30s. Some of them, by the way, are studying right now, as a matter of fact. But all of that aside, everybody that's listening right now is getting one thing through their mind. We're more or less. I mean, maybe we're worse than CNN in a way. We're planting that seed, the seed of love. We're planting it by them listening, and by planting that seed will grow. It will. Mm-hmm. All by itself. We don't have to do it. We just put it on auto pilot. Yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's like it's one of those things. If anybody has any questions, by the way, about that, you can write to Gary. It's on if you were on Facebook, and at the end of this, he can give his email address or his Facebook address. It's also on the blog right now on F for Pyramid One Radio, and then you can see all the addresses and everything else. And he's got a whole bunch of addresses on there, so you can have a lot of fun watching that. But out of all these things, Ned, there are people here that can help. We're not on the radio for us. We're on the radio for you. I've heard Trump say this a couple of times. They're not after me. They're after you. He's when he said that, I said he copied me. I mean, I've been saying the other way, for a long time. We're here for you, and you're here for us. If you weren't here, we wouldn't be here. Why would we be here? Why would I be on a radio net if nobody's listening?
Really?
Yeah, it's like crazy. I'd be running around in circles. And a lot of people that do these podcasts, they do them on TikTok and things. I'm like, what are you, out of your mind? I mean, the only reason people watch you is because you look so dumb. I mean, for crying out loud, when you have something to say it.
Could I announce how people can get in touch with me?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, the easiest thing to do is go to GaryWimmer.com, GaryWimmer.com, or email me at gw@GaryWimmer.com. I'm also, as Bob said, an actor, writer, and a musician. So there's several links on that first home page, GaryWimmer.com. But if you click on the psychic link, you'll get all my information, how I do readings. You can also call me and leave a message because I get telemarketing calls all day long. So leave a clear message, 512-707-0836. Leave a clear message with your number. I will get back unless you're a telemarketer. email me at gw@garywimmer.com. Go to garywimmer.com, and you can find out a lot about me. And we can communicate and set up a time to do a reading. And I certainly thank you, Bob, for your time and energy and getting me with your folks.
We have to. Let me see now. Hold on a second. I got. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, the 18th of July. And now we could do this again.
Okay, let me look right here on my calendar and see 18th of July. Yeah, what time would be good? I'm busy till about noon Central Time.
Oh, same time.
About 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock your time.
Let's do it, man. I'm putting it on my calendar now, okay?
There you go. Now, everybody that's listening to that right now, I want to tell you something right now. First of all, just to make this, a little information out there. He's from Jersey originally, and so am I. He's a musician, so am I. He's a psychic. I've never even come close. Although I've had on my shows maybe 20, 30 psychics already. I have mentors, I got teachers, I got the whole 9 yards. And out of all of these things, we're just people, just like you. And we're here to help you. Not because we're better than you and can help you, because we're just like you and we can help you. Or we've been just like you and we solved the problem to make you better. There's a lot of people that coming to us right now that say, well, I was going to get this job and I don't know what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. It's just like anything else. If you're standing on a diving board and you got a pool that's full of water and it's 99 degrees outside and you got a bathing suit on and you're standing there looking at the water, what are you going to do? You're going to walk back and get out the pool, or you're going to jump in the water? Well, if you want to feel better, you're going to be cooler if you jump in the water. So jump in the water. The life is like a big ocean. There's a lot of drops out there. It's how many you catch that count, not how many catch you. You've got to catch them first. And that's how we do it. We've got it going on right now in the world, in the whole world, right now. I'm sorry, we got a bunch of real failures out there. They're not thinking about anything that I'm saying. They're thinking about what they're thinking. They're thinking failure all the time. They're always thinking about negative things all the time. I implore on everybody, never think of something nasty. Think of something good. Whatever happened in your life that was great. I had a car with 3 tires and 1 snow tire. That was cool. There were things like that, like the first motorcycle I ever bought. My mother almost killed me because she was like, I didn't ask her to buy the motorcycle. I just bought it. One of those kind of things. I mean, so many things in your life that make you feel good that you can laugh about. These are all.
Amen.
And Gary has said it a couple of times in that. Life is what you make of it.
Absolutely, always.
Yeah, and we can do it. We can do it.
Because we get the power, the right, the privilege, the opportunity to decide how we're going to react to something, how we're going to think about it, how we're going to perceive it. Is it a curveball? Is it thrown at me? Is life screwing me over? Or is life giving me yet another opportunity to learn something new? And that attitude means how you will receive the next experience in your life as a intolerant, cruel curveball, or is another step toward mastery. Take the big step, folks.
I want to remind everybody, too, another thing in that, because I have to get it myself. There's a book that you got to get. It's called A Second in Eternity. You can find it on Amazon. It's on Amazon. In fact, I have to do. Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. I think it's like $15 for it, something like that. It's I read the synopsis of the book and everything. This is, I mean, I've been there. I've been on the other side. He's been on the other side. You got to read this thing, man. I tell you, everybody is like, you hear it. I mean, I just watched it on TV. People say, well, the date of the amount of years that people live and this and that. Everybody's worried about death. Don't worry about death. For crying out loud, don't worry about death. You know what I mean? It's like if you've been there, you can say that honestly. I mean, I can definitely say it. No two ways about it. You know what I mean? The other side is pretty cool. But on the other hand, if you say, well, I feel bad that because I'm going to die. No. The people that you leave behind are the people that usually feel bad because you left them. But they get over real quick. It's like, hey, he's not in the room anymore. I can use his room as an office. I mean, there's a million funny things.
Most people have had a near-death experience say the same thing. Don't fear death. You can't do a damn thing about it except live a good life right here, right now. That's all you can do. So do that and don't worry about that. Besides that, it's beautiful. It's liberating. There's nothing to fear.
Gary, tell me how wrong I am. But you don't, when you're born, okay, first of all, you're a soul to begin with, and you get to choose. You know where you're going to go. You know why you're going to go. This is your learning experience, and you're born. There is no way in hell or heaven that you can choose whether or not you are going to die or not die. There is no choice. You are born to die. People don't get it through their head. That's the word. Born to die.
That's nature. Part of nature.
That's the way it goes. Now, when you're on the other side, you do get a choice. You can stay there for a while, hang out with the boys. You know what I mean? Have a drink at the bar, whatever. But there's no bars, by the way. But you could do your thing and everything, or you can come back. Now you don't have to come back here. You can come back on another planet, to another culture, to another type of person. There's a billion of them out there. Do you think we're the only ones? Do you think God turned around and said, hey, you humans are on the only place in the whole universe that has you in it? No, that's not the way it works. And everybody says ETs and all these spaceships and everything else. Come on, man. Do you think that we're the only ones that are here? Do you think that we were born first? Do you think that we're the only ones with brains enough to do what we do? No.
Or even beyond that, do you think this is the only universe?
Right.
We got infinite universes through infinite time, so it's infinite possibilities for infinite manifestations. We just happen to be stuck, you in your body, in your world right now, Bob, and me in mine. But there's infinite places to go and infinite time to do it in. That's kind of a joyride. Don't talk yourself out of it.
This ground is billions and billions and billions of years old. Billions and billions. So somebody looks at each other and says, "Oh, you're going to die when you're 90." 90. Okay, well, how about trying like 100 million billion years? You know what I mean? You're not even the end of a pin in all that mess. So yeah, we go around a few times. People don't realize it. Like
many times.
I had a regression person that took me back, and we found out that I've been here 14 times.
At least, I would guess.
14 times. And I wondered why every once in a while you have and everybody has this. Don't even think about telling me, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Does anybody ever think about dinosaurs, Indians, horses, carts, mountains, cold, snow, ice? Do you ever like somewhere in a dream somewhere you get a little piece? Our brains, are nothing but a computer that collects.
Oh
energy.
yeah.
And that energy, the soul, is a collector. It collects all that information all the time. No, you do not remember where you came from. You will not. God said, no, that don't happen. When you're gone, they do tell you where you've been and what you've been doing and everything, and what you did right, what you did wrong, et cetera, et cetera. But nobody sends anybody to hell. kind of funny. I always thought maybe who
Sure.
knows? If there's a hell, maybe I'll take a round trip. But nope, never happened. And when you do wake up and you're in this place, you come back a different person. Totally,
Absolutely.
a totally different person.
The lady who taught me lithomancy, I met her in 1980. I had my near-death experience in 77. She told me a little bit about that and so forth. But between 1980 and when she passed away 5 or 6 years ago, we became very close friends. I helped her with her car and her kids and her rent. And, she was extremely psychic, but had a lot of physical problems. But anyway, during the 25, 30 years we were close friends, I've asked her about 15 or 20 different people in past lives. And every time she's picked up a different life with a different association with that particular person. So I know about 25 or 30 lives I've had just with people I've asked her about.
Mm.
And I think we live a lot more past lives than we even realize. And furthermore, the irony of your past life, my past life, every molecule, every atom, every thought, if you wound it up all together, it's nothing more than infinite mind seeing itself in infinite ways over infinite time with infinite possibilities. So that's the difference between separation, time, space, separate lives, and the fact that we're all just infinite mind looking at itself. Enjoy the view. Not a bad perspective.
And I can give you one on a quadrum. Yeah, what's this? A quadrum. More or less. What would you call it? What did I see the thing? It's a plane interest. We are learning, or we are living. Our energy can be in 2 to 3 to more dimensions at the same time.
Mhm.
We can be living, we can be knowing, we can be feeling somewhere else right now as we're sitting here. Like I said, your energy is your soul. Your soul, that energy, never dies. Never dies. Now, there's no way you can say that your soul, or a part of your soul, can't be somewhere else, because it can. Science has already proved this, that the energy it can split. But they only do that, at death time, because that's the only time the soul actually shows itself, in a sense, because it's out of there. It's like it picks up its bag and goes. But in many, many times, people always get smarter and smarter and smarter. You wonder why people are so smart. It's not because they got different brains. They got the same brain, same thing. But how do you know how many times that person already learned what he's learning now? Why is it so easy? Why do you see somebody walk up to a piano and start playing a concert and never touch the piano in their life? Or the same thing happens then. I taught for a couple of years. I taught kids. Kids. The kids that I taught how to play guitar were 5 to 7 to 8 years old. They almost couldn't move their hand around a guitar. We had guitars that would have very, very thin necks, so I could teach children. I had children that could do in about 90 days. They could do about easily 30 chords. And we already started, doing riffs and things like that on the guitar. I had one kid that could actually start learning or playing 2 records that his parents had, and the kid was 8. It was ridiculous.
Well, I can explain music theory to someone who doesn't know a thing about it. If they pay attention in 3 to 4 minutes, I can explain music theory based on a major scale, forming minor chords, major chord, diminished, augmented, blah, blah, blah. It's so simple. That doesn't mean the playing of it is easy, whether it's guitar, piano, or cello. You still have to learn the technique. But I always say, it takes 3 things to learn music. 1, learn a little bit of technique. You have to get your fingers moving on scales or chords or riffs. Number 2, learn a little bit of music theory to know why these things work, chord-wise. Number 3, put 1 and 2 together and play songs. That's what it's about. A little technique, a little knowledge of music theory, and then it's learning stuff and practicing, thinking outside the box. I learned everything I heard. Even today on the radio or TV, I'll hear a riff like Unsolved Mysteries. Da 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 dum dum dum. I know the chords. I don't even have to get a piano. I listen to those melodies all the time and just
But how many years have we been hearing those chords?
really, really,
We
really.
come on, we're cheating here in a way. You know what I mean? We hear it and we go, oh, to see.
Oh
Now,
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I've done that a zillion times. Everybody out there now, listen. These kind of shows are great. They are, as I said, for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this and I'm going to say we're going to be out here. It should be. If nothing else happens and the Earth doesn't come to whatever, and maybe who knows, maybe gas will go down to $2.99. Maybe.
Mhm.
I'll take back the 25 cents tomorrow. But anyway, if all these things that work out, that we'll be back here on the 18th. Now, I want everybody to be back here with us. And of course, I'm going to give the audio copy, and I'm going to copy of this because we're on 40 minutes and 52 seconds. That's enough to see our faces. That we're going to have these things out there. We can pass them around. If you want a copy, listen to it. Take the audio part of it. Listen to it. You have questions. I'm sure we've said something that you have a question of. I mean, I'm not even going to take that anywhere other than positive. I know you have questions. So do I. I mean, we didn't touch. I mean, I got pages of questions. I didn't touch half of them yet. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everybody with this little ditty. Now, what I always say all the time is there's one thing you have to listen to all the time, and that's your heart. Your heart tells you that you are who you are in this span of time on this planet, in this universe, under God. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.